Merry Christmas. I'm Jody Pritzel, author of Vintage American-Made Glass Christmas Ornaments, Immigrants, Ornaments, and Legacies, a story of American-made glass Christmas ornaments, and The December Dilemma, U.S. Christmas Stamps 1962 to 1972. I need to pick shorter titles for my books, don't I? I share your fascination with vintage nursery rhyme ornaments. They are whimsical and enchanting. I'll cover a time period for the ornaments, my goofy theories, proof of my goofy theories, and talk about 11 designs plus the 3 little pigs. My husband Carl's animations inspired me to have some fun with this video. The old school nursery rhymes were as tragic as Shakespeare's plays. Seriously, who thought it was funny when a guy falls off a wall and breaks into bits? How can someone laugh at Jack, who likely suffered a head injury? And little Bo Peep, come on. She's all alone in a field, no support. She's lost all her sheep, wondering what the heck is going to come next. And who thought a lit candle and a child, absolute mayhem and disaster? And this is what Shiny Brite and George Franke based Christmas ornaments on? I think there's a reason a search of Amazon shows very few, if any, classic nursery rhyme books selling today. Prior to the 1950s, much Christmas marketing targeted adults. Fancy silverware, marketed briefcases. And then in the 1950s, the focus shifted to dazzling kids, and that's why you see nursery rhymes. Nursery rhyme ornaments are Dickens to find. Between 4 of us, doggone Alan, Jeffrey, and Carol, we still don't have them all. But I do have the original 6. Humpty Dumpty, Jack Be Nimble, The Cat and the Fiddle, Little Bo Peep, Jack and Jill, Little Red Riding Hood. Nursery rhyme corning blow-in ornaments date to at least 1952 and a 2 5/8 size referred to as king size. And the first one featured a guy who had the great fall, Humpty Dumpty. Now, Humpty was decorated for certain by Shiny Brites and sold as one bulb in an assortment of a dozen other ornaments for $1.59. Now, I'm going to come back to that, as you would expect to find only a few Humpty Dumpty. As in previous videos, the packaging configuration plays a role in scarcity. In 1953, a different assortment featured a 2 5/8 Jack and Jill. Now that assortment was priced at $1.79. And in 1953, Little Bo Peep, decorated by Shiny Brites, was sold as part of an assortment of 12 ornaments, but they were 2 1/4 inch size for $1.19. Now think about that. You've got 2 5/8, 2 1/4, like you see over here with Little Red Riding Hood and Jack and Jill. I want to dig into the font on nursery rhyme ornaments. The quotation marks on Humpty mirror the ones you see here on Hi Diddle Diddle, Cat in the Fiddle. And the H's in Cat and Fiddle match Humpty Dumpty. As are the matching D's in Humpty Dumpty and Cat and the Fiddle. So that tells us similar time period or perhaps same designer. Now let's add in Jack and Jill, another nursery rhyme ornament. The quote marks match, the eye matches. So were they sold together and were they designed by a single person? Which brings us to a theory. In the 1950s, the Shiny Brite design director was Frank Maietta. Apologize if I mispronounced his name. Frank was a decorated World War II veteran, wounded in Normandy. Frank proudly served his country and was equally proud of his Italian heritage. Like all creatives, he was not only an artist, he was a gifted singer. Now, it's possible that Frank was the inspiration behind the whimsical nursery rhyme ornaments. I offer that up because when you look at his signature, I just see inspiration for the nursery text. Look at the A's in Frank's name, the way he signed it, and look at the A's in Jack and Jill and Cat and Fiddle. Now, ornament rescuer Cody tipped me off that 6 nursery rhymes were sold at one time in a set. I was skeptical, but here's the proof. In 1953, an assortment of 12 nursery rhymes was sold by Montgomery Ward. They were 2 1/4, Corning blown, Shiny Brite decorated, packaged with 2 each of Little Bo Peep, Humpty Dumpty, Jack and Jill, Little Red Riding Hood, Jack Be Nimble, and Hi Diddle Diddle. But that doesn't explain if there were sets of 2 5/8 of the original 6. So the question I need your help on is, what 2 1/4 inch nursery rhymes do you have? And what 2 5/8 nursery rhymes do you have? Because you can see, I've got both. Now for a math problem, Montgomery Ward sold a full assortment of a dozen Shiny Brite decorated nursery rhymes, but the company's sales volume was 1/3 of Sears. We know Sears sold for sure a single Humpty Dumpty, single Jack and Jill, single Bo Peep, and assortments, which explains why you can find more Humpty Dumptys, Jacks, and Bo Peeps, because when you add the Sears singles to the 2 each of Ward's, the volume is much greater than that of Cat and Fiddle, Red Riding Hood, Jack and Nimble, Jack Be Nimble, and Jack and Jill. But again, we're messing around with this 2 1/4, 2 5/8. Well, what about Old Lady in the Shoe and Old King Cole? Until I was putting together this video, I had never heard the Old King Cole song. And then stuck in my earworm for a week. Look at the O in Old Lady in the Shoe and the O in Old King Cole. They are very, very, very similar. And here we have matching L's, but the C is different, which could mean King Cole was a later issue. I think of the original 6, 4 were created by one designer, and a little theory of mine is a different designer designed Little Red Riding Hood because of the different L's and the different E's. Now for nursery rhymes I think were decorated by George Franke. This version of Jack Be Nimble, the I and the E match those of Little Miss Muffet. I was a little thrown by Jeffrey's Little Boy Blue with the Franke cap. When you compare it to Bo Peep, a line goes through the T's versus 2 distinct cross-throughs in the Little Boy Blue T's. The L's are different and so are the B's. So our options are different designer, one Franke, one Shiny Brite, or Boy Blue has a switched cap. What strikes me about Little Boy Blue is the similarity to Night Before Christmas, which may indicate the same Shiny Brite designer. I want to point out the small child sitting here. Brings us to 3 Little Pigs and Doggone Ellen's set of 12. Within the set, You have the three little pigs seeking their fortune. They distract the ugly wolf. He's not bad, he's just ugly. They distract him with an apple. Wolf wants in, the pigs climb down the chimney and live happily ever after. I also believe in Baltimore, George Franke decorated a simple Humpty Dumpty along with the three little pigs. So in theory, there are two American-made Corning blown Humpty Dumptys, one from Shiny Brite and another from George Franke. What about old Mother Hubbard? She's wandering somewhere, haven't seen her, can't find her. And this is interesting. Jeffrey in Pennsylvania, he has a striped Jack Be Nimble with much thicker paint than the Nimble on the right. Now, what about the toy scene? I think the toy scene came before nursery rhymes. I think it was about 1950. If you have information to add to our collective knowledge, email me at booksbyjody2021@gmail.com. I know Carl wants to play with more animations, so we can also make another video. I answer ornament questions and post catalogs and other information at booksbyjody.com. I hope the hunt for nursery rhyme ornaments inspires the whimsical child in all of us. Thanks for buying my books from Amazon and watching my videos. Merry Christmas.
Old King Cole was a merry old soul, and a merry old soul was he. He called for his pipe, and he called for his bowl, and he called for his fiddlers three. Every fiddler had a fine fiddle, and a very fine fiddle had he. Tweet, tweedle, tweet, tweedle, tweet, bet the fiddlers.